Good morning, guys. It's day 2 of our road trip through northern England, and right now it is dawn on the holy island of Lindisfarne.
In this episode, we're going to be showing you guys England's early Christian past by visiting 3 amazing places: Lindisfarne, Durham Cathedral, and the ruins of Fountain Abbey. You ready to hit it?
Let's do it.
So we got here this morning right as the sun was rising, and as we said, this is a tidal island, so the causeway, the only way to get on and off the island is when the tide is low. You can really feel like the serenity of this place.
So yesterday we finished our episode with the retreat of the Romans from Britain. After the Romans left in 410, Britain started becoming Christianized. And a lot of that had to do with this place right here, because Northumbria at that time was a very, very powerful kingdom. And the king invited St. Aidan, this monk from Ireland, to come here and set up Celtic Christian monastery. You might remember from our episode series on Ireland that the Irish monks living in these isolated monasteries were fundamental in continuing Western culture during the fall of the Roman Empire. They would create books that were part works of art, but also crucial transcriptions of important texts. This became a center of learning, and all that started to change when the Vikings arrived.
So you guys might recognize this place from the opening scene of Vikings, the television show. In AD 793, the Vikings arrived, and the first thing that they did in England was ransack, raid, pillage, and burn this monastery to the ground. And you have to imagine, in AD 793, it would have been similar. There would have been monks living here, and on a morning, maybe like this one, ships appeared on the horizon, and next thing you know, the arrival of the Vikings.
They sacked this place, and it began basically the conquest of northern England by the Vikings.
Right now the tide is rising, and in about 20 minutes we're not going to be able to get back across to the mainland, so it's time to say goodbye to Lindisfarne. Beautiful place. Would like to come back here and spend some more time, and if you are ever in the area, you should most certainly come and stop over at Lindisfarne. Big splash. So we're gonna make a quick little detour on the way to Durham. Right now we're at Bamburgh Castle. This is kind of cool. This is a bucket list for me. This is one of the best preserved castles in the UK. They call it the King of Castles. Before I came on this trip, I started reading this series of books called The Saxon Stories by Bernard Cromwell. They're really good. I don't know if any of you guys have read those books. If you have, say what's up in the comment box. But basically it tells the story of this guy named Uhtred. And this was his castle, but he gets captured as a young child by the Vikings and spends his whole life kind of like fighting the Vikings and trying to recapture this castle. So I had this image in my imagination of what it would be like, and it's definitely surpassing that. It's incredible. What a fortress. I was born a Saxon lord in Bamburgh. My father was slain and I was captured by Vikings and raised by Ragnar Lothbrokson in the way of the Danes as a warrior. My uncle, the usurper, stole what was rightfully mine. And now I have come to reclaim my castle, Bamburgh.
So I've never read these books that Alex is obsessed with, but what I find crazy is that at some point there would have been Scandinavian kings in castles like these across the north of England. And you know what I never put together? In high school we had to read the English epic, in the true sense of the word, Beowulf. Basically the first written myth in English. It's kind of the genesis of English culture and the birth of the language and the people, you could say that. But what's weird about it is that it actually takes place with Danes and basically takes place in Scandinavia. So that's because the people who were living here in England, although the language was Old English, they actually had strong connections with Scandinavia because of the Viking heritage. But what I don't get, maybe you can help me explain this. What was the story? The Beowulf story was so strange. There's just this guy who's a chill king. He's having a party of mead. Yeah, he just wants to have a mead hall, invite his knights to party and feast.
But monsters don't
and
care about
Grendel,
that.
biggest joy kill ever.
Yeah.
Just
And so he
comes
has
in.
to call Beowulf. He's like, who can I call? Not Ghostbusters. I call Beowulf. I call Grendel Killer. And and then epic battle pursues. And Beowulf becomes the chill king at the end.
They should have just invited Grendel to the party in the first place, and then he might not have been so pissed
it's like,
off.
sorry, you're a bit too weird for our party.
Yeah. Anyways, we're gonna dive more into Viking mythology tomorrow. Teaser, but we must continue onwards to Durham.
Go for it.
Okie dokie, ready?
Yeah. Are you going back inside? Nope. You're not allowed inside. What are you doing?
Durham Cathedral was built in honour of St Cuthbert. St Cuthbert was Bishop of Lindisfarne in the 7th century. 11 years after his death, his body was translated, basically dug up, and they found that it was incorrupt, so it hadn't rotted away. And because of that, that affirmed his saintly status. And when the Vikings came to Lindisfarne, the monks fled with his body and ended up here eventually. Building started in 1093, and it only took 40 years to complete the whole cathedral.
We're inside the nave of the church right now, and it is incredible. I'm not particularly religious, but I'm definitely spiritual. But I think in a place like this, it doesn't matter what religion you are, you can come in here and just generally be awed by the architecture. So I love just kind of walking in here and just looking up, and I'm pretty sure that's what the architects wanted you to do.
I think it's the original definition of awesome because it inspires awe. When they design these sort of cathedrals, they're super big. And that is to kind of transmit the idea that you are humble before God. And it certainly does that. So there's also a connection between here and the next place we're going. England was really changed in the 16th century when they had what they called the Reformation, which was basically Henry VIII becoming a Protestant, not a Catholic. But the next place we're going is very, very much tied to that history of the Reformation. We're going to Fountains Abbey.
Fountains Abbey was not so lucky. It did not survive the Reformation, and it's now in ruins. But we only have about an hour until the sun goes down, and it's about an hour's drive. So, you ready to hit it?
Let's do it.
Right now, we're pretty much wandering around this amazing UNESCO World Heritage Site, and we're completely alone. The only things that are here to hang out with us are some pheasants. How you feeling, bro?
I'm feeling just completely awed by this. I mean, this is a huge complex. The monks that came here were looking for a life of solitude, and I think that really resonates a lot with travelers these days because life is so crazy. You know, standing in these structures that are enormous in the middle of nowhere, it really does kind of give you a sense of, I don't know, peace, tranquility, lets you reflect on everything we've seen so far. It's just hard to imagine that someone would destroy this place. I mean, Protestants, Catholics, very big difference back in the day. But today, the one thing we all have in common is that our lives are going super fast. I think a lot of people can come out here and chill out and feel these vibes. I think we should have a party here. One day, we'll raise money for the National Trust, have a big keg party, DJ going over here, dance over there. I think it's a good idea.
I think that's just so against everything that this place is built for.
Yeah, I know.
But it's a nice idea. It would be fun.
All right, guys, well, it's been an amazing journey across time, space, and history of England.
England, yes. Our road trip through the north of England continues. Tomorrow, we're going to the Viking Festival in York because that is a thing.
Yes,
and we're gonna get dressed up and have an amazing time. So stay tuned for that.
If you guys enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends.
And
do
don't
not
forget
to I don't care what anybody says, history is cool.
We say it's cool.
We say it's cool. History is cool. All you naysayers. You suck.